Hello, Steve Atkinson here, pastor of Abundant Life Fellowship in St. Thomas, Ontario. Thank you for joining us for today's Word of the Week. Today I want to talk to you about grace. And I want to start reading from Ephesians verses 2 to 10. For by grace you have been saved through faith. And it is not your own doing, it is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them. This past weekend, we had our grand opening with our Miracles, Signs, and Wonders conference. We had a great man of God come up from Redding, California, by the name of Chuck Perry, and we saw God do some amazing things. There was a woman who had been in pain with her knee for over 30 years. God healed her. Saw headaches healed, arthritis, hips, a woman's back got totally healed. And we saw God do some amazing things, people having encounters with God. The Friday night worship was just, it was off the hook. It was one of the top 5 or 6 encounters with God I've ever had in my entire life. It was amazing. And the message Chuck preached on Friday night is something I want to highlight for you today. He spoke about grace and spoke about how Jesus, when he died on the cross, he paid the full price for our sin. He paid the full price to deal with our sin, to deal with our sickness, to deal with our shame, to deal with our fear, to deal with all that. That was nailed to the cross. Sin has been dealt with. Death and sin has been defeated at the cross. And that Jesus, he rose again and has given us life, and given us life abundantly. Jesus came to restore us to relationship with the Father, to reveal, to represent the Father to us. And now we live in grace. We live because of grace, and we live in grace. Sometimes we can feel like we need to perform to get in God's good graces. But it's God's good grace that enables us to perform. Well, what I mean by that is this. In John 15, there's the parable, Jesus talks about how he is the vine and we are the branches. If you look at a plant, you look at a tree, a branch cannot produce fruit on itself. The only way that a branch can produce fruit is by allowing the life of the vine or the life of the tree to flow through it, and fruit is produced. If the branch looks at the life in itself and says, I'm going to try really, really hard and make this fruit happen, it may be able to have a tiny little thing happen at the end. But it will be nothing. And in so doing, the branch would dry itself out and it would wither. And I'm sure you've tried to break branches off a tree that was alive and one that's dead. And when it's full of life and full of sap, it's very hard to break. But if it's dead and dry, it snaps off easily. God has designed us to be filled with his life and filled with his life abundantly, overflowing. And it is by grace that we're able to do this. I challenge you this week to live in Graceland, because just like in Tennessee, it is the land of the King. So I bless each one of you to have encounters with God's goodness and his grace this week. Again, my name is Steve Atkinson, pastor of Abundant Life Fellowship here in St. Thomas. I invite you to come and check us out. We meet at 750 Talbot Street here in St. Thomas, and our website is abundantlifestthomas.ca. God bless you. Goodbye.